Well, let's start with the market action today. A range-bound session on Dalal Street ending with marginal gains. The Sensex gaining just under 100 points. The Nifty gained over 220 points. The Nifty Bank ended at a record closing high. The rupee ending the day today at 81.85 against the dollar, and yesterday's close of 81.67. So that's a quick snapshot of the market and currency market action for you. Now, top industry leaders say that private investment is starting to pick up. Speaking at the 9th Banking Conclave of the State Bank of India, Chairman Dinesh Khara said that 20 lakh crore rupees was invested last year and 12 lakh crore rupees has been invested so far this year. That's not all. The SBI chief said that banks are sitting on excess liquidity worth nearly 3 lakh crore rupees to meet demand. We also spoke with L&T and JSW Steel's top brass. They remain upbeat on growth as well. Here's a slice of that exclusive chat.
We are already seeing a fairly good pipeline of the proposals. It is, I can probably share the number with all of you here. It is as strong as about 2.5 trillion with State Bank of India itself. And also, let me share with you, last year we had seen almost about the proposals, in fact the fresh investment coming in about 20 trillion. This year it is already about 12 trillion. So that is a very clear reflection that people have faith in the demand in the economy. I think that is something which is most important. And I would say that if at all there is a demand in the economy, perhaps the corporates are willing to invest, corporates are willing to come with the infrastructure and also the capacity creation too. And the second important component is the capacity utilization has improved to about 75%.
The government's thrust on infrastructure, building and investment is music to our ears. As a representative of a company which thrives on infrastructure building out, we think that we are in for a period where investment in the core infrastructure, be it transportation, healthcare, be it in terms of public spaces, utilities, water, power. I think India is so underserviced as an economy, and it is at the other end of its aspiration that unless we provide a bridge between the aspiration and the enablers, India is not going to get its targets right. And I think the government does realize. So consequently, I think a lot of focus was getting the act together, getting the house in order. I think now that largely that has been achieved, maybe the minister, finance minister, could possibly see demonstration of the optimism coming through in plans.
So to answer your second question, PLI, production linked incentive for specialty steel, it is not creating a basic steel capacity. So whatever imports we are doing of specialty steel, like electrical steel, which we are importing 100% into India. Similarly, something related to API grade steel or automotive steel, where we are importing, PLI scheme is getting extended only to the specialty steel. That means basic steel making already exists in India.
Right.
We need to go into high-end value-added steel. For that, PLI scheme is introduced. 79 applications have gone itself, is showing that there is a lot of interest in setting up those capacities in India to stop the imports and also to enable Indian steel industry to export, as far as that particular point is concerned. Second one, you...
On the concessional tax rate being extended by another 5 years.
So in fact, this concession of 15% was given in the year 2019.
Yeah.
And they said by 2023, whatever investments that are made, those investments should be completed and it should be commissioned. Whereas at the request of the industry, it has been extended by 1 more year.
Correct.
But because of this offshoring and also China Plus One policy, if it is extended, it will be great. It is welcome step.
My assessment is that almost about 2.5 trillion to 3 trillion is a balance of the government with the banks, RBI. So that remains unspent. During the month of November, we did see some kind of a spending happening from the government, and it did dish out some of the liquidity constraints. Going forward, I think the banks have got the excess SLR, and that excess SLR will be utilized for ensuring that there is no liquidity challenge for meeting out the growth needs of the economy. To my mind, the way inflation is now trending lower in US economy, that will lead to a situation where perhaps the Fed may not be increasing the interest rate as much.
Mr. Khara, you said that you hope or believe that the Fed may slow down the pace of hikes, given the fact that inflation has started to ease a little bit in the US? What's the expectation given where we currently find ourselves on the rate trajectory? And we've got the MPC coming up as well in the first week of December. What's your expectation on that?
Well, I think when it comes to the central bankers, probably Fed is supposed to be the bellwether. So let us wait and watch what the FOMC decides.
And you can catch that entire conversation with the SBI chief, L&T top brass, Sheshaguri Rao of JSW Steel and many others at 9:30 p.m. right here on CNBC-TV18. The big CNBC-TV18 exclusive tonight. The Finance Ministry is looking at ways of simplifying capital gains tax provisions. The Revenue Department is of the view that it could ease compliance and remove disparity between several financial instruments which fall under similar categories. Timsy standing by with more. Timsy, this has been the stated intent of the government and the Revenue Department. What are you picking up? What are we likely to see?
Well, that's right. What we are given to understand from sources is that the Revenue Department is currently studying provisions of capital gains tax structure. The department is in favor of further simplification of capital gains tax provisions, and once approved, these provisions, the new provisions, could be part of the budget announcement. The view prevailing at the Revenue Department is that there needs to be simplification of this particular law. There could be simplification just in terms to provide ease of compliance and cleaning up of the complex law, and to remove disparity between several financial instruments which fall under similar categories. The proposal which is under consideration is that to have three broad categories of assets, that is equity, non-equity financial, and the third being non-financial. Also, the proposal is to continue a special treatment for equity assets, whereas to remove disparity of rates and holding period for both short-term and long-term for non-equity financial assets. When it comes to non-financial assets, the proposal is to revise indexation base to a newer base year, which since the earlier base year is 2001 and it is quite outdated. So to moving it to a more recent year could be something which could be on the anvil. Let's see what is the final proposal and whether the department is convinced to go ahead with these changes or not.
Many thanks. In other news, the Supreme Court has sought clarity from the union government's top lawyer over the appointment of Arun Goyal as election commissioner. A 5-judge bench is hearing a petition seeking reforms to the current system of appointing election commissioners. During the hearing yesterday, the apex court observed that the election commissioner should be someone who does not allow himself to be bulldozed, and went on to say that former chiefs of the poll body, like the late T.N. Seshan, happens once in a while. Ashmit Kumar joins us now with more. Ashmit, take us through the action in court today on a very important issue.
Well, let's begin by giving a benefit of context to our viewers. A 5-judge bench of the apex court, a constitution bench of the Supreme Court, is hearing a batch of applications that have sought to make the election commission more independent by introducing the concept of a collegium that will appoint the election commissioners and the chief election commissioners. The argument being made in the petitions is that at no point should either the Prime Minister or the leader of opposition or any member of any political party be a part of the appointment process, as that would inherently create conflict of interest and will not make the election commission independent as has been sought. Now, the apex court has been hearing this matter for the last few days. What's important, however, is that today the apex court took exception to the appointment of Arun Goyal as the election commissioner. Now, keep in mind that he took charge on November 21st, and this inspired a few sharp comments from the apex court. The Supreme Court, in fact, asked the Attorney General whether this appointment was appropriate, whether it was timely, and if it could have been avoided, given as how the apex court is already seized of the matter and is already deciding on the issue of election commission independence. So that's one question that is being posed. However, let's keep in mind that this is not merely a stray observation from the apex court. The Supreme Court has very clearly directed the Attorney General to place on records files regarding the appointment of the election commissioner, so that the apex court can verify whether everything is kosher or if it requires further judicial scrutiny.
Ashmit, many thanks for joining us. The insurance regulator has revised its consultation paper on expense management and commissions. The regulator has proposed an EOM limit of 30% and 35% of gross premium for general and standalone health insurers, respectively. Commissions have to remain within the EOM limit. Stakeholders can submit their feedback by the 14th of December. Now, TPG-backed RR Kabel is prepping for a Dalal Street debut. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 the company is likely to file its DRHP by May 2023. Yash is standing by with more. Yash.
Well, that's correct, Shireen. So when we speak about low-density cable wires or home wire solutions, RR Kabel is a household name. What we've been given to understand now is that the company started preparing for its IPO. Investment bankers are in the process of being appointed for this particular IPO. As far as the timeline that we've been given to understand from our sources is concerned, we've been told that by May 2023 is when the company expects to file the DRHP with market regulator SEBI, and subsequently by October 2023 is by when the company looks to launch its public offering. As far as the share between offer for sale and fresh issue is concerned, it's a large portion of offer for sale and a very small portion of fresh issue, which are the funds that would be coming to the company. Just to give you a few details on the IPO, which we've been picking up, the company is likely to raise about 1,500 to 2,000 crore through this IPO. That would lead to a dilution of about 12 to 15% stake of the promoters in the company. TPG Group is expected to sell about 10 to 12% of its stake in the company, and the Kabra family, which is the promoter family, is expected to sell about 2% stake. As we know, the company in this particular segment competes with players like Polycab, KEI Industries, as well as Havells.
All right, Yash, many thanks for joining us. That is the latest on the likelihood of RR Kabel hitting the Lal Street. More hurdles now for the resolution of Jet Airways. The Jet Airways Officers and Staff Association has sent a notice to the erstwhile resolution professional, the Jalan Kalrock Consortium, and the Committee of Creditors. The notice seeks the payment of PF and gratuity as ordered by the NCLAT before selling any assets. It's also warned of legal action if the NCLAT order is not complied with. Indigo has launched its second aircraft maintenance, repair and overhaul centre, or MRO, at the Kempegowda International Airport in Bengaluru. The airline's first MRO facility is in Delhi. The airline has signed a 20-year pact with the Bangalore International Airport to sublease 5 acres for the facility, which will accommodate 2 narrow-body aircraft and supporting infrastructure. Now, the representation of women in India's corporate boardroom has increased. However, India Inc. has a long way to go in achieving gender parity. This, according to a recent report. Archana standing by with some new data. Archana.
Let's put the spotlight on gender diversity in boardrooms and women in leadership roles. According to a new study conducted by proxy advisory firm Institutional Investor Advisory Services, gender diversity is growing in boardrooms but at a slower pace. Women directors accounted for nearly 18% in the top 500 NSE-listed companies at the end of March this year. From 6% in 2014 to 14% 5 years ago, women now account for 17.6% of directorship. Of the total 4,694 directors of Nifty 500 companies, only 827 were women. Although the number of women directors is increasing, the pace of appointment is very slow, with just 1% increase over the last 3 years. And if the trend continues, the report says that we will achieve 30% gender diversity on boards by 2058. So who is doing better than India? Country-wise, France is leading the pack at 44.5% women representation on boards, and this is the 2021 data. Whereas Europe has 34.4% women directors and North America has 28.6%. According to this report, the biggest disappointment came in from the public sector undertakings that continue to fare poorly, with women representation on their boards at just 13.54%. It's important to note that the Companies Act 2013 made it mandatory for boards to have at least one woman director from 1st April 2014. This regulation resulted in a threefold rise in women being appointed directors. The report urges corporate India to invest in building a strong female talent pipeline, accept them in leadership positions, and address gender pay gap. Back to you.
Well, Archana, many thanks for joining us with that very important story. And this is why at CNBC-TV18, we're all set to lead charge with a one-of-its-kind mega initiative. It's called Future.Female.Forward, the Women's Collective, presented by HSBC. And this will be officially launched through an extensive on-ground event on Friday, the 25th of November, with several leaders of India Inc. in attendance. We'll also be joined by some of the most influential voices from the world of business and entrepreneurship, entertainment. Don't forget to tune in to CNBC-TV18 on Friday, the 25th of November. This is really our ongoing effort to try and improve gender parity across our workspaces. Time for us to head into a short break, but up next, protests at the largest iPhone factory in China. A special report from Beijing when we return.
This is your space.
Play it your way.
With the versatile range of sanitary ware, faucets and tiles by Sarah.
Pooja, you left the job and still so cool?
Bro, new challenges bring new opportunities.
Oh, really?
Seriously, Rahul, my entire house, now it's an online retail store. Look.
Wow. But money?
Few years back, I'd invested my Diwali bonus.
And now you have LIC's ULIP plan Nivesh Plus. Invest once, get the benefit of both life insurance and maximized returns based on market trends.
One sec, Rahul.
Madam, you are double cool.
Odisha, the unstoppable force, welcomes you to highlight Odisha's emerging industrial aptitude. Our visionary leadership introduced an inspired idea, the Make in Odisha Conclave. Odisha is ready to enthrall you all over again. Align with the growth ideas from thought leaders, finding ways to explore the zenith and beyond, showcasing skills, encouraging startups, enhancing women-led entrepreneurship, developing our designated key focus sectors, celebrating culture like never before. We are ready for us.
I invite you all to the Make in Odisha Conclave. Come join the juggernaut.
This tax season, invest in Samco ELSS Tax Saver Fund that aims to create wealth for you by investing in high-quality, small and mid-sized Indian companies. And the best part, also saves tax with ELSS. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
China has strengthened its curbs in various cities amidst a spike in COVID cases. Meanwhile, there have been protests at the largest iPhone factory in China. Visuals and images on social media show hundreds of workers at the Foxconn plant clashing with riot police and people in hazmat suits. Yunus Yoon joins us now with the latest. Yunus.
Looking increasingly as though the COVID situation here is becoming a national outbreak. Megacity Chongqing is now in effective lockdown. Chengdu, another city out west, which just emerged from a lockdown in September, has announced mass testing. Shanghai canceled an auto event, and then manufacturing and IT hub Shenzhen said that it's going to require a negative 48-hour COVID test as of Thursday, similar to what we're seeing here in Beijing. In fact, this all comes as Beijing and the surrounding areas have been imposing tighter restrictions, and as export hub Guangzhou continues to tighten its controls for some of the major districts. Today, videos emerged online that were obtained by AP, not verified by NBC, but would appear to show people who claim to be Foxconn workers clashing with authorities in hazmat suits, and they're shouting, "Give us our pay." Now, this is all coming as Foxconn had promised to new recruits that they would give them extra bonuses and higher pay if they agreed to live under the COVID controls.
Yunus Yoon there reporting from China. Now, rapid developments at what is arguably the most popular football club in the world. Manchester United have announced the departure of Cristiano Ronaldo after he criticised the club, its owners and the manager in a controversial interview. Soon after, it was also announced that the Glazer family is open to selling the club, sparking a rally in the share price and euphoria among fans. Arundhati Ramanan reports on the Glazer family's decision to sell the club and their fraught relationship with Manchester United.
Even the swimming pool that the players use, the saunas, all these facilities, nothing had changed since you'd left in 2009.
Nothing changed. Surprisingly, not only the pool, the jacuzzi, even the gym. Even some points, the technology, the kitchen, the chefs, which is I appreciate, lovely persons. They stop in a time which it surprised me a lot. I thought I will see different things.
In a no-holds-barred interview with British journalist Piers Morgan, Cristiano Ronaldo slammed Manchester United and its owners for not investing in the club. The fans were not surprised when the club and Ronaldo decided to part ways after the interview, but what shocked everyone was the announcement that the Glazer family are also ready to take the exit. A statement signed by Avram and Joel Glazer said, and I quote, "As we seek to continue building in the club's history of success, the board has authorized a thorough evaluation of strategic alternatives, including new investment into the club, a sale or other transactions involving the company." The Glazer family have been the owners of Manchester United for the last 17 years, but their reign has been tumultuous to say the least. The team has not won the league for nearly a decade, and fans have taken to the streets to voice their discontent. Manchester United shares in the US rallied 15% after the announcement, adding $400 million to market capitalization in a single day. The Glazers bought the club in 2005 for just over $1 billion. Forbes values Manchester United at over $4.5 billion, and recently Chelsea was sold for over $4 billion. So the Glazers will be expecting a steeper valuation for Manchester United, considering its history and fan base. According to its latest financial statement, Manchester United has a debt of more than $500 million. It suffered losses due to COVID, but all of this did not stop the Glazer family from taking a dividend of nearly $35 million, sparking more anger from the fans. The departure of Cristiano Ronaldo with mutual consent has split the fan base. One Manchester United legend saw it coming.
Sad to see a player like Cristiano Ronaldo, as I've said many times, one of the best players of all time, and to see it end this way with Manchester United is obviously as a former teammate and a fan of Manchester United, it's sad to see it end this way. But I think once everyone's seen the interview he done with Piers Morgan and how he attacked the club, I think there was no option. There was no option for this to happen. So am I surprised? No.
So Ronaldo is gone, and the Glazer family could be leaving. Winds of change are blowing through Old Trafford. In Mumbai, Arundhati Ramanan.
Well, the people of Gujarat will vote for their next government in 2 phases, on the 1st of December and on the 5th of December. The results will be known on the 8th of December. In the run-up to these elections, as part of our ongoing series, The Election Exchange, Santya Gora visited the state to get a sense of the political landscape and the key issues at play.
Across the 182 constituencies in Gujarat, campaigning is in full swing, and street performances are just the tip of the campaigning iceberg. With election days around the corner, the state will go to polls in 2 phases, on the 1st and 5th of December. The battle lines have been drawn, and a 3-way battle is nearing fever pitch. For the BJP, which has ruled the state for the last 27 years, winning this election is more than a matter of pride. It enjoys strongholds across much of urban Gujarat. For the Congress, which has been the main opposition party in the state for decades, this is a fight to stay relevant and expand its reach and influence beyond its strongholds in rural Gujarat. But this time, both parties have to contend with a new player, Arvind Kejriwal's Aam Aadmi Party.
Both BJP and Congress party are very, very upset with this entry of, Aam Aadmi Party, because they can be disruptive force for BJP as well as for Congress. Aam Aadmi Party candidates may not reach to the threshold level of winning election, but they can definitely spoil the political prospects of BJP or Congress party.
The Aam Aadmi Party on its part is confident of its chances.
अगले फरवरी में जब हमारा बजट आएगा तो 3.25 लाख करोड़ का बजट होगा।
ओके।
अब आप मान कर चलो।
अच्छा, वो बड़ा कॉन्फिडेंस स्टेटमेंट आ गया जब हमारा बजट आएगा।
हाँ, तो 100% है, इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है, क्योंकि गुजरात की जनता ने तय कर लिया है।
But Aam Aadmi Party's confidence may not borne out in numbers. Experts say shaking the BJP's hold over urban Gujarat will be a tough battle. It was these bastions that gave the BJP an edge over the Congress in the 2017 elections. Aam Aadmi Party's promises of free electricity, farm loan waivers and unemployment allowances is seeing mixed traction. The BJP is asking voters to reject this offer of freebies. BJP continues to be the strongest party in the state, even though its tally of seats has dipped steadily from 127 to 99 in 2017. Most of these seats have been picked up by the Congress. But this time, the BJP is determined to change the dynamics. Changing the entire cabinet in 2021, including the then CM Vijay Rupani, experts say that BJP gave a glimpse of its election strategy. BJP kept 38 sitting MLAs out of its first list of 160 candidates. Experts say that it's an attempt to curb the anti-incumbency sentiment, which can work in the BJP's favour. CM Bhupendra Patel and Home Minister Harsh Sanghvi are among those who remain unchanged. BJP has also kept the Patidar sentiment in mind and has given tickets to nearly 36 Patidar community candidates. Congress, on the other hand, is struggling to revive its 2017 fortune. The party claims that silent campaigning is its strategy for these elections and will reflect in the results, But as per poll watchers, the Congress will struggle and won't repeat its 2017 performance. In fact, political surveys suggest Aam Aadmi Party's entry will prove to be a bigger headache for the Congress. A recent Lokniti CSDS survey says that Aam Aadmi Party may even replace Congress as the main opposition. The battle lines are drawn for interesting three-way race with the BJP pegged as the leader in all pre-poll polls. In Gujarat, Santiagora.
And with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of India Business Hour. Thanks very much for watching. Do stay tuned. The news continues on CNBC-TV18.